quite a bit, um, so people can hear me in our house, especially if it's quiet, where we're at. And if I'm rolling around, then you can usually hear my wheelchair about 50 feet from wherever you are at. So if you can't see me yet, you can probably hear my wheelchair. So anyway, I figured that what I would do was I would take it apart, take my casters, the little tires out in front of the wheelchair, take them apart and see if there was any maybe some hairs in there or string or actually I just wanted to see which caster it was that was making these squeaky noises, and I couldn't really tell. I tried to spin the wheels, the little caster wheels of each of my tires, each of my front caster tires, and I couldn't really tell which one squeaked and which one didn't, because they don't squeak whenever I lift up the front of my wheelchair and I spin those tires. They only squeak whenever there is a little bit of pressure on the tires, on those casters, and then they squeak. Um, but like I said, I just couldn't tell which one squeaked, which one of the casters squeaked, so I figured that I might as well clean both of them, clean both of the tires. Um, this this is the cleaning of the right front caster tire on my wheelchair. This one was uh, had hex. I think they call them hex nuts. Um, so I think that's kind of standard with most wheelchairs casters, is that they're hex nut or hex screw, hex bolt, like or hex bolt. Yeah, I think hex bolt or hex screw, or yeah, hex screw is kind of standard for wheelchairs. And a lot of people, I think the caster screws are normally don't are not dome shaped on the head. They're flat usually. Mine, if you just pick some up at Home Depot or some kind of hardware store like Ace Hardware store or something like that, then they're the easier ones or the cheaper ones the are the ones that are domed in shape. My wife, she just thinks that it's funny. She was just mentioning about special orders, how one of the people at the hardware store told us we had to um, special order these screws and nuts and bolts and things like that. But you do not have to do that. You do not have to do that. People freak out about that. They don't know what to do. So anyways, they say it needs to be special ordered. Anyway, it doesn't need to be special ordered. I think I got these bolts, these screws and these nuts and these bolts for probably a total of maybe $6 or $7, and I got a ton of screws and bolts for my wheelchair casters. I think I got like 8 or 9, 8 or 10 or something like that. Screws, bolts, washers, nuts, all that stuff. Although here you don't really need nuts. I mean, because what I don't I don't know if you can see that in this video or not, but there is a middle shaft that goes through the center of the wheel, of the little wheel, and it should smooth it should um, it should go smoothly, just flow in and out smoothly of that center of the wheel. Um, and I think it's called a shaft, And what the shaft has is it has some bit. Salud. It has some bits on it. It has actually a couple bits on it, so it can be screw bits, so you can screw into it and connect to the shaft and hold on tight to the shaft with the screws. And that's what I'm doing right here. I'm turning the screw, and it's going to screw into the shaft that's in the center part of the caster screw. Now you don't want to tighten up those screws too tight to the shaft, because whenever you tighten them up too tight to the shaft, then what happens is uh, as the as the tire as the caster wheel gets turned, then the screw or the bolt starts to get loosened, and because it starts to go in the lefty loosey direction, and starts to unscrew, and pretty soon the screw falls out, or the bolt falls out of the caster wheel, and that's not that's not good, because whenever the bolt falls out of there, then the other caster can fall off. Well, when that bolt comes out, then the other side of the caster, the bolt that bolt can fall out too, and pretty soon your caster will fall off, and that would be a bad thing.